Hey guys, what's up? It's Leah, KD9LFZ, and I'm living up to my channel name today, Astro Leah. It's time for some NASA news, and I'm super excited because this week is going to be particularly eventful because this morning was the launch of the Mars Perseverance 2020 rover, which honestly, I am so super excited about. I know I haven't done anything NASA related in the past on this channel, past 2 weeks, but it is something that I would like to start doing more often. And yeah, I am super psyched about this video. I'm just gonna sort of go over some of the coolest things I think about, like some of the coolest features of this rover, some of the neatest facts, stuff that just I find really exciting about this rover, and I hope you enjoy it. I was going to watch this launch live. I was not able to because I had an orthodontist appointment, which was lots of fun. The orthodontist actually told me, they were like, when you're an astronaut and you're like waving to all the media as you're about to get on the rocket, just say to the media, like, thanks to the orthodontist for my pearly white smile. Oh God. I was like, okay, I'll be sure to shout you out. Don't worry, I got you. But yeah, I am super excited for this video. I had a little bit of audio issues, got them all fixed, so now I can shout as loud as I want, and I'll just turn it down in the editing, which I love. So yeah, I hope you guys are enjoyed. I hope you guys are excited for this video because I am super excited, and yeah, let's get right into it.
1-0. And liftoff. As the countdown to Mars continues, the perseverance of humanity launching the next generation of robotic explorers to the Red Planet.
So the first thing I wanted to share with you guys is this. Because of the current event situation that is going on right now, NASA has not been able to do the in-person event for the launches for obvious reasons. Instead, they have started doing something which I think is absolutely amazing. Instead of having to go to Florida, to Cape Canaveral Air Force Base to watch the launch in person, which, don't get me wrong, I would still love to do. Mom and Dad, if you're watching, birthday present? No, but on a more serious note, instead of having to go all the way to Florida, now you can watch the launch from your very own home. And whereas before, when they were streaming it, you could watch it from your house. Now they have specific events. There's events that you can sign up for. There's like a Facebook social group that you can sign up for, which is absolutely amazing. They have all this behind the scenes stuff that you can access for free from your very own house. And I think that is just like the coolest thing on the planet. I did the virtual event for Demo 2. I did the virtual event for this, even though I'm still launch. It's fine. But both times, the virtual event, like, it was amazing. I know with the Demo 2, they did like 6 hours worth of live streams before the actual launch, and I watched every single minute of it. Some dedication right there, but it was absolutely awesome, and I think this is great for NASA to be doing. It makes it really accessible to the public. So yeah, that's my first thing. Really love it. They also have this thing where you can send your name to Mars, and it gives you like a boarding pass that you can print out. It looks just like if you're gonna get on like a plane ride. But what happens with that is they send your name to Mars. They engrave it on a silicon chip and they put it on a plaque on the actual rover, and they send it through space, and your name lands on Mars and stays there, which is crazy. The only thing I would say is, don't spell your name wrong. Don't do it. Yeah, not a good idea. Not that I know anybody who did, but like, yeah, just, it is absolutely awesome. They even have like a frequent flyer thing, which, that's crazy. I love that. Also, with the sending your name to Mars, the same plaque on the Perseverance rover, the same plaque that has those 10.9 million names engraved on it, has a picture of a sun also engraved on it. And if you look closely enough, the rays of the sun are Morse code, and I believe it says "explore as one." What a cool little Easter egg. The last rover, Curiosity, when it was moving across the sand, its tires had Morse code printed on it, and it printed it out on the sand behind it, which was actually used as a visual marker for Curiosity to see how far it had gone. But the letters were JPL, which is the name of one of the NASA research centers, JPL. And like, how cool would that be to like go over there and you see da 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 did da did it. I just think that's really awesome. So yeah, a little bit of a rover Easter egg there, if you will. Here is one of the other online materials they have. It is a model, a 3D model of the rover. You can look at it upside down, sideways, and if you click on something, it'll tell you about it. And you can click learn more. It's super cool to be able to see something this in depth. And the vehicle in real life is the size of a car, but to be able to look at exactly what's going to Mars like this, like the age of technology just makes it so everything that NASA is doing can be brought so much closer to the individual person, and I love it. I love it. Here is a picture of the actual launch a couple seconds after liftoff. The rover was the payload of an Atlas V rocket from the United Launch Alliance, launching from Cape Canaveral Air Force Base. Now, one of the really cool things that I learned, well, there's several really cool things about this. One of the cool things I learned is that depending on which orbit you're going to be put in around the Earth is which launch site you're launched from. So if you're going into an equatorial orbit, you are launched from Cape Canaveral Air Force Base, because if anything happens while you're getting into low Earth atmosphere, they don't want it to be so that when the rocket fails or something falls apart, they don't want that rocket coming down on New York City. That would be very bad. So Cape Canaveral Air Force Base is specifically in a very specific location so that when it's launched, it just goes right out over the Atlantic, and they don't even have to worry about if it falls on somebody. Now, if you're going in a polar orbit, which is north to south, south to north, around the poles of the Earth, you launch from Vandenberg Air Force Base, which I believe is somewhere in the Midwest, but it just goes over lots of nothing, which is a really cool fact. Another really cool thing I learned is because the power source on the Mars Perseverance rover is an MMRTG, or a multi-mission radioisotope thermoelectric generator, which is definitely a mouthful to say, the ULA had to be specially qualified because of the radioactive elements that were part of the rover. So, like, ULA, I believe, is one of the only, or is the only launch partner that is certified to launch with these thermoelectric generators, because they've got radioactive materials in them, so they have to be certified by NASA. They have to go through all this other like certifications and safety training. I did not know that. They mentioned that today during today's live stream, and I was like, that is really, really cool. Another interesting fact that some people may not know is about the launch window. So the Perseverance rover launched today, which is Thursday, July 30th, I believe. Thursday, July 30th. It's not expected to land until February 18th of 2021, which is like a 6.5-month journey. Seems crazy, but that's actually the fastest route they can take. And if they miss this launch window, it's a fairly long launch window. But if they missed it, they would have to wait 2 entire years for Mars and the Earth to line up just right, so that 6 months would be the shortest time. So it's just crazy to think of how far that distance is and how fast they're traveling, and it still takes them that long. Like February 18th, I don't even know what I'm gonna be doing in February. Probably still doing YouTube, let's be honest, and working a ton. Oh. Now, I love flying and I love space. So this seems like the perfect combination. Ingenuity is going to be the first powered flight on another planet. Ingenuity is a helicopter that they designed. If you see right here, this part right here is actually the size of a softball. The entire vehicle weighs less or around 4 pounds, and from rotor tip to rotor tip, it's only 4 feet across. It's incredibly small. The reason being because the atmosphere is equal to 1% of Earth's atmosphere. So in order to generate enough thrust, you have to have a lot of rotors moving very fast, and you have to hardly weigh anything. And this is really important to devising a way to fly in the future. I mean, today we use planes to get everywhere. We use them as hobbies, we use them for transportation, we use them for medical purposes. And on another planet, they could be potentially just as helpful or even more helpful, especially if there's dangerous terrain. So this is just the first step in an incredible journey that is probably going to lead to some amazing technology in the future. Your next question may be, well, okay, Leah, but what is the purpose of the Mars 2020 Perseverance rover? And to that I say, as a robotic astrobiologist, of course. In the past, the rovers have been designed at first to see if there was water, then to see if there was other conditions suitable for life. Mars 2020 rover's main purpose is to detect signs of life. It's to find those microorganisms and to see what we can find out about them, if they even existed, where they existed, what kind of organisms they are, which is insanely awesome. I've probably said that 1,000 times in this video. The other really, really neat thing that the Mars Perseverance rover does is that it's going to be taking core samples and then it's going to be leaving them there. And the purpose of that being that in 2026, there's going to be a joint mission between NASA and ESA. And they are going to be working together, 2 separate launches. One's going to be an orbiter from ESA, one is going to be a lander, which will then collect all those samples left on the surface, load them back up into a rocket, which will take off, meet up with the orbiter, and come back to Earth. So we will be able to have samples of Martian soil on Earth. And of course, we already have tons of material from the moon. And what they did with that was they brought it back and they only used a very specific portion of it for testing because they know, hey, in the future, we are going to have better tests. We're going to have better technology. We're going to know more about what we're doing. So they specifically left aside untouched lunar material. And even though the lunar landings happened 50 years ago, we still have lunar soil, lunar regolith that has not seen the light of day. And they're planning to do the exact same thing with the Martian soil that they bring back, which is incredibly awesome. Today, you have to fill out like the most complicated application process to get your hands on lunar material. It's insane, and they only give out like so much of it a year. It's highly regulated, but they are going to be able to, in 2026, bring material back. It's amazing. Yeah, I'm super excited about it. Now, I'm just going to take a couple minutes to shout out my 2 favorite experiments, if you will. I don't know if they're really my favorite. I think that they're possibly the most important experiments on there in order to be furthering human spaceflight, in order to put humans further into space faster. The first one of which is this all-important gold box. It's called MOXIE, which stands for Mars Oxygen In Situ Resource Utilization Experiment. Basically what that means is that it takes in carbon dioxide and then using chemical reactions, it breaks it apart into oxygen and carbon monoxide. It gets rid of the carbon monoxide and you're left with oxygen. Not only is oxygen incredibly useful for breathing, but it's also a really good rocket fuel, liquid oxygen. And one of the possibilities is that they'd be able to create lots of these gold boxes in a much larger scale. And by the time we get to Mars, we could already have a fully functioning oxygen factory that is making oxygen for us to breathe, oxygen for us to get farther into space. Like, this is possibly the greatest invention if it proves to work well, work efficiently over a long period of time. This would be one of the most important inventions for the future of human spaceflight. It's incredible. Now, here we are at JPL, the Jet Propulsion Laboratory themselves, and themselves, English much. This is also a really important thing. They are taking some of the most useful, the best candidates for spacesuits. They've loaded them up onto this rover. They have a sensor watching them, and what they do is they're going to expose these spacesuit materials to the Martian atmosphere, see what the dust does to it, see what the atmosphere does to it, see what the radiation does to it, so that when we do make spacesuits, we're the best informed on how to make the best spacesuits so that we can be as safe as possible. Because obviously mobility is a huge issue, dust is a huge issue, anti-radiation is a huge issue. There's a lot of things to consider, and this is just one of the ways that they're helping make their job just a little bit easier. Now, I said I was going to do two really cool things, but I almost forgot about possibly the most important of all of them, just on like a human level. The Mars 2020 rover, for the first time ever, is taking microphones. They're going to be able to capture what it sounds like on Mars. They'll be able to send those recordings back, and we'll be able to experience for ourselves what standing on the red planet would really be like, which is crazy. Like, sound is one of the most important human senses. I mean, that's how you're understanding what I'm saying right now. And to be able to hear something so powerful as another planet, something that's never been done before like that, I am seriously excited about that. Like, insanely excited about that. I'm excited about this entire thing. I don't know if you can tell, but I love this. So yeah. Yep, that's it. I love it. End of story. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. These were just some of the amazing things in the Mars 2020 rover. I could not possibly explain everything this rover has. It's absolutely insane, the amount of technology, the amount of dedication, the amount of hard work, and the amount of perseverance it took to make this rover make it to the launch pad today. And yeah, it's just incredibly exciting. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a great day. 73 from KD9 LFC.